Good afternoon. So see, the first thing that we'll do today is SIDCOP. Now see, UPSC will never use the full form, Sino-Indian Digital Collaboration Plaza, but it can at times and say that it is a digital collaboration between the manufacturing sectors of India and China. It's a digital collaboration between IT companies and Chinese manufacturing sector. It's a collaboration between Indian and Chinese service sectors. They can use statements like that, but more chances of the propensity is that they may ask SIDCOP. Recently SIDCOP was in news. They will not give its full form, rather they would produce just the abbreviation of it. Now what is SIDCOP, you say? Okay, China is good in manufacturing or services? And what about India? Services. What kind of services? Mostly IT enabled services. Now many companies, especially in the US, they have earned a lot of profit because of India. And this is also one of the major reasons why the India-US relationships have now or are now seeing a positive trajectory. The reason is that what the American engineers performed at a given price, the Indian engineers performed that almost at the half price, at times even 1/3 of the price of that. So the cost cutting was great as far as American companies were concerned, and they mopped up huge revenues. Their sales increased, they attained price competency. Now see, competition is of two types, quality competition and price competition. First you try to compete in quality, but if you improve the quality, the costs go up. So generally in the developing countries, if you increase your quality of product, you do not end up with great sales. I'm talking about the manufactured products. Why? Because the people do not have that much amount of purchasing power. So what countries in developing or companies in developing countries they prefer is they prefer to cut down their costs. And US market is saturated now. If US wants to export something to Japan, Japanese produce more or less the same things. If they want to export something to say Britain or Western Europe, they also produce more or less the same thing, and they have exported to these places for a number of years. The markets that are untouched for United States of America are the Asia market, the Asian market, the African market, the Latin American market to some extent, mostly because it is not that these countries have restricted the entry of US goods, but the US goods are so costly that the common people cannot afford it. Do you understand this? But they have done a lot of cost cutting, the US manufacturing units, by using IT enabled services. That is what we say the BPO boom that happened in 2000 to 2004, and you would see that at that time there was a lot of business that flew to India from US. This is also the time when the FDI flow to India started increasing. Today India is the largest recipient of FDI, clear? Now this is what SIDCOP does. This for the first time it provides that opportunity to Chinese companies. Will this help in improving Indo-Sino relations? Yes. So apart from commerce, it may also help in improving the relations with China. But what you have to keep in mind as far as PRE is concerned, first thing is that what it is, and is in partnership with NASSCOM. NASSCOM for us and for the municipal governments of Guiyang and Dalian for China. So that is what you have to keep in mind. Either UPSC will give you it as a full form and ask you like what I asked you initially, that kind of question, or they may give you just the short form of it and then ask its features. बस दो ही तरीके के क्वेश्चन हो सकते हैं as far as PRE is concerned. So are you clear with this? Okay. So let us go to the second one, which is ICRISAT. Now ICRISAT stands for International Crops Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropics. Now Semi-Arid Tropics. Tropics have three kinds of locations. One is wet tropics. They are mostly the eastern sides of the continents. because you have onshore winds. Then you have semi-arid, they are mostly the middle portions of the continent, and then you have arid, which are the western portions of the continent. Clear? So this is for semi-arid. In India, we can call the Punjab, Haryana region as semi-arid, eastern Rajasthan semi-arid, again Gujarat, eastern Gujarat to some extent semi-arid, western Madhya Pradesh semi-arid. So this is Crop Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics. It is based in Hyderabad. Now you look here that what it has done. Now it has found drought resistant or climate resistant genes in chickpea. Now if you look in the handout that has been given to you, it focuses on 5 crops. Turn the page and can you see the top line? It focuses on 5 crops and chickpea is one of them. Can you find the 5 crops? Yes. Now these 5 crops, एक ये question हो सकता है इससे कि which of the following crops that ICRISAT is looking for, and mainly you will see many times UPSC will use these kind of crops, clear, as making question. अब ICRISAT ही नहीं पता, कभी नाम ही नहीं सुना, तो मुश्किल हो जाएगी फिर. So ICRISAT deals with 5 crops. So this is one thing. Put a star in front of that statement. There can be a question from this part, one that, and second you see that it has recently found or it has decoded the genes of chickpea. Are you aware of genome mapping? Yes, this is what has been done, and it is a kind of you can say first step towards creating a genetically modified variety, and they are drought resistant, heat tolerant. Simply put, this will now revolutionize dryland farming in India. Dryland farms are those farms which receive rainfall less than 75 centimeter and do not have irrigational facilities. Clear? These are drylands, and drylands will now benefit a lot. Now what you have to keep in mind is where it is headquartered. So it's headquartered in Hyderabad. First thing that the question that can be asked is which statement I asked you to put a star. I feel that that can be the statement from where the question can be formed. Apart from it, there can be also this part. ICRISAT has defined 6 developmental outcomes that it believes will help the poor. And what are the 6? These can also become, and like which of the following are developmental outcomes for ICRISAT? Food sufficiency, intensification. What is intensification? And diversification. What is the difference between these two?
Per unit crop.
Yes, one is more with respect to productivity, the other one is more with respect to range. Clear? Then you have resilience and health and nutrition, that's the 5th one, and women empowerment. Now in the tropical areas, if you see, there is a lot of forced feminization of agriculture because of sex selective rural to urban migration. Clear? And that's why these are the 6. So you put a star against this as well. This can be the second section from where the questions can be asked. So the crops, and which crop, or it can, the question might say that recently ICRISAT has decoded the gene of chickpea is the answer that you have to keep in mind. So are you clear with this? Good. देखो current affairs ज़्यादा मुश्किल नहीं है, बस ये है कि थोड़ा एक बार हम उसको देख लें तो कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता फिर, क्योंकि अगर सिर्फ जमा करते रहें और सोचेंगे कि एक दिन पढ़ेंगे तो वो दिन कभी नहीं आता. एंड द पॉइंट इज अगर आप पढ़ भी लोगे तो कुछ रहता नहीं है, because it is really impossible. So you must develop this art of understanding which are the sections from where questions can arise. And if you interact with, say, the successful candidates, they would also tell you the same thing, that when they look at a particular current affair topic, they first focus on which are the areas from where questions can arise. Now there's a student of mine, what he did is, he is now an IPS officer, he did in 2017, he summarized every current affairs topic in the form of question answer, for the mains I am talking about, and it helped him enormously because he wrote the topic and he wrote 5 bullets for it, and this is something which I suggested him and it paid off for him because उतना ही याद रहता है. If you write 4 pages, 5 pages, you will recall nothing. Clear? So 5 bullets, 10 bullets, that would be enough. Now also think of this, that if you get all the current topics at one place and it is short, then you can perform better in current affairs. Do you understand this? But if you have a lot of current affairs, then maybe you will perform worst. One who has more material makes more mistakes. अगर नहीं समझ में आ रहा है तो ऐसे सोचो, जिनका पवेड ऑप्शनल है वही पॉलिटी में गलत करके आते हैं, जिनका हिस्ट्री ऑप्शन है वो हिस्ट्री में गलत करके आते हैं, जिनका ज्योग्राफी हो ज्योग्राफी में गलत करके आते हैं, because they study more. Do you understand this? So what you need is, you have to understand that this is where the questions can arise and this is where I should focus on. So do you understand? Do you understand both these, SIDCOP and ICRISAT? Good. Let's move forward. Now look at this Bimstec. The SARC is now defunct because it is always under it is marred by the Indo-Pakistan tensions. So Indo-Pak tensions have made SARC a non-functional body, and that's why Bimstec has emerged as an alternative. Bimstec is an alternative for SARC, and how it will benefit India can be more of a question for mains. But with respect to prelims, can there be a question on Bimstec? Yes, there can be, because last year a summit was held for Bimstec, and Bimstec has now attained center stage because of India's Look East policy and Act East policy. Are you clear with that? What you have to keep in mind first is, who are the members? How many countries? 7 of them. And you have to keep in mind that they are Nepal, India, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand and Sri Lanka. Clear? So from ASEAN, how many members? 2. So Bimstec also gives a platform to India to provide a bridge between India and ASEAN. And you see, if you are in the good books of ASEAN economies, then definitely you will prosper, because ASEAN as a trade bloc was formed against China, against the aggressive policies of China. And today you know that these all are manufacturing hubs. Also some countries have great population density, so they are good markets. So if they are good markets, India can find first export destination, and second, India can also find investments from those locations. In ASEAN, is there any developed country? Yes, Singapore is a developed country, but ASEAN is a strange extreme. On one end you have countries like Laos and Cambodia, which are very poor, and on the other hand you have Singapore. Singapore, the city as it has been designed, the same model is followed where now in India? Will be followed where? Amravati. And Amravati would be developed as a natural city. It will be the second city in Asia that would be developed as a natural city after Singapore. Clear? And if developed as it is planned, and provided that the politicians do what they have already said, then it will be the best city in Asia as far as planned development is concerned. Do you understand that? Okay. Now see here, what UPSC can ask you. First is Bangkok Declaration. It is where Bimstec was conceived, and first it was Bimstec. It means Bangladesh, India, Sri Lanka, Thailand Economic Cooperation. Then Myanmar joined in, it was named as Bimstec, and then when Nepal joined it, this hyphen was released and the name was transformed into Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation. So first you have to keep these things in mind, but this is just a brief history of Bimstec. What is more important is these things, Bimstec's principles and Bimstec's objectives. Which of the following are the objectives of Bimstec? Are you understanding this? So these are the objectives and these are the principles. The principles are, how many principles? If you see, sovereign, equality, territorial integrity, political independence, no interference in internal affairs, peaceful coexistence, mutual benefit, constitute an addition to and not to be a substitute for bilateral, regional and multilateral cooperation involving the member states. So there are 7 of them. Now if you see one thing, that all of this you can find that there is also similar kind of expression in the Panchsheel document. Clear? So you can understand that Bimstec also acts as a counterweight towards China. Clear? So Bimstec now is very crucial for India. Also, this can be a question, that which are the areas of cooperation under Bimstec, and UPSC will give you trade and investment, energy, cultural cooperation, public health. अब एक चीज मैं बता रहा हूँ. Take this as a thumb rule. all development things, economic and social, are part of Bimstec because it's a comprehensive program. Are you clear with that? So you can think of this. Tourism, does that have economic implications? What about social implication? Does it have? Okay. What about energy? Yes. So only thing that you have to check is whether it has social and economic positive implications or not. If the answer is yes, it is definitely a part of Bimstec agenda. Are you clear with that? But take that as only a thumb rule, and there can be some new news item. By the time you reach your examination, maybe there is something new and things might change. Clear? But so far now, you can think of this. So this, you make a star in front of it, Bimstec's principles, because I feel this can be the area from where you can get some questions, that which of the following are the principles on which Bimstec has been conceived, and they can give you 2, 3, 4 options and keep the countries in mind. Clear? Now, is Afghanistan a part of SAARC? Yes? Is Afghanistan geographically a part of South Asia? No, it is not. It is more of West Asia than South Asia, because South Asia is the subcontinent it is south of the Hindu Kush. Some of Afghanistan do fall in the South Asian region, and that is why it has been included in the SAARC. Now, look at this, Financial Stability and Development Council. Raghuram Rajan, his ex-RBI governor. Now, this FSDC was conceived by the Raghuram Rajan committee. What is its name? But the naam mein hi sab kuch hai. Fiscal Stability and Development Council. Sorry, एक ही बात है, फिस्कल स्टेबिलिटी भी बोल लो उसको, फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी एंड डेवलपमेंट काउंसिल. नाउ एक बात याद रखना, हैव यू हर्ड दिस, व्हाट इज देयर इन द नेम? ये सुना है कभी? व्हाट इज देयर इन द नेम? आई से एवरीथिंग इज देयर इन द नेम एज फार एज करंट अफेयर्स इज कंसर्न. ओके, थिंक ऑफ दिस, दैट किसी ने तो कहा होगा ये देयर इज नथिंग इन द नेम. हाँ, तो उसने लिखा क्या? देयर इज नथिंग इन द नेम, और नीचे क्या लिखा? विलियम शेक्सपियर. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड दिस? बस इससे काफी कुछ चीजें समझ में आ जाती हैं कि देयर इज ऑलमोस्ट एवरीथिंग इज इन द नेम, बट दिस इज मोर ऑफ अ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग. लेट्स कम बैक फ्रॉम देयर. So see, what is, first you have to see that what is its composition. The Finance Minister of India heads it, and its members are Chairman of SEBI, IRDA, PIFRDA, Finance Secretary, Secretary of Department of Financial Services, and Chief Economic Advisor. So here you make a star, that what is its composition, FSDC. Now, what are its functions? Its functions are very simple. Now, first is it plays an edge between financial inclusion and financial literacy. Is financial literacy also a part of financial inclusion? Yes. Financial literacy. What do you mean by financial literacy? कि पैसे गिनने आ गए हो गए financial literacy? Then what is financial literacy? In simple terms, how do you explain financial literacy? It means you understand basic things like credit, debit, loan, these kind of things. Are you clear with that? And second is, it is responsible for the assessment of the functioning of large financial organization and controls the macro-prudential regulations of the economy. It means macro regulations means inflation, growth, all those kind of things. Clear? Current account deficit. Then FSDC strengthens and institutionalizes the mechanism for financial development and stability. The issues related to inter-regulatory coordination are also taken care of by the FSDC. Now, counter-cyclical policies, have you heard about this? Now, at times you see that this happens in India, that the government is cutting down on its expenditure on one hand, and the RBI is increasing the repo rate. Do you understand this? It means you have a strong monetary policy and a strong fiscal policy coexisting. It means, in more technical terms, we call it the contractionary fiscal policy and the contractionary monetary policy. They coexist in India. Now, this is not good for economies, and for many years India has maintained this thing, that both of them move in tandem. You understand, in tandem? It means together. Rather, it should be like this, so as to counterbalance. Do you understand this? Now think of this child who gets thrashed from the father and mother on the same day. Where does the child go? So, you can understand कि अब ये डिपेंड करता है कि आप किस तरफ आप एक छूट दोगे इन्वेस्टर्स को, बिजनेसमैन को, एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को, because you see in a market oriented economy it is the entrepreneurs and the investors who drive growth. Clear? So monetary policy is first, like say, think of this, when the macroeconomic instability happened in the world with respect to the subprime crisis. This is what happened. The government of India provided some fiscal stimulus packages. Fiscal stimulus packages is government increasing its expenditure and reducing its taxes or holding its taxes constant on one hand. And the RBI, as a consequence of it, kept on pushing the interest rates high. So the government is giving from one hand and the RBI was taking from the other hand. So the benefits did not occur well for the country. Because of this, a lot of people were frustrated with the fiscal governance of the country. I'm talking about the time period in 2011-12. That was the time period when you have a large number of stalled projects and you have all kinds of scams that are coming over day in and day after. So it created a mood of frustration among investors. India Inc., have you heard about them? Have you heard about CCI, FICCI, etc.? They're collectively known as India Inc. It means the investors. Now India Inc. was very frustrated with this thing. Also when you look at the scams that was so much prevalent, और इतने सारे zero आते थे paper में कि गिनना भी मुश्किल हो जाता था. So the point is, at that point it was felt that it is necessary for us to create some sort of counterbalance, and so the Raghuram Rajan committee was set up at that time, and just after the subprime crisis, if you see, and thus it was decided that it will look into some sort of counterbalancing act. In mature economies, market economies I'm talking about, you will see that the monetary policy is less volatile. It does not changes very quickly, but the fiscal policy keeps on changing, and that should be the way, because governments come and go, but the monetary stance should be more predictable. अभी अगर आपको लगता है कि RBI will sell dollars anytime into the system, then the rupee will appreciate. And if you are an importer or if you are trying to start an importing company, you will be enthralled by it. But if you are an exporter, you would be demotivated. Do you understand this? So कभी भी कुछ भी कर सकते हैं. So the point is that we must understand कि what is important at a particular time. The monetary policy should be more predictable than the fiscal policy. It doesn't mean that the fiscal policy should be unpredictable. The monetary policy should be more predictable. Write this line. This will help you in answer writing as well. Right? The monetary policy should be relatively more predictable than the fiscal policy. It means, in simple words, what I'm saying is, governments can any day announce direct benefit transfer for something, but the RBI should not do this, that today the repo rate is this and tomorrow it can just be altogether different. Rather, it should be almost like that. और अगर आप देखोगे कि जब RBI comes out with its quarterly reports and it declares it does a policy review every 3 months, and if you see that when RBI does so, the newsmakers and the news channels or the newspapers, they already tell that what RBI is about to do, and most of the times you will see that that is correct, but they find it really wrong with respect to the budget. Do you understand this? Now there are some newspapers, I don't want to name any newspapers, but you will see that they would always highlight a particular aspect. Like, are you aware of the halwa ceremony? The halwa ceremony has happened and people are now, बस सबको जेल में डाल दिया है और सब अब economic survey और budget बनाने लग गए हैं, and maybe it will be released in 10 or 12 days time. But you see one thing, that if suppose I know that you are a bureaucrat who is involved in making the budget, then I would definitely try to lobby so as to get some incentives for my sector. And to avert such a situation, this is done. But again, you see, if there is more transparency in the system, these kind of things are not required. मतलब ये ऐसी बात हुई कि हमारे बेटे ने कभी शराब नहीं पी क्योंकि कभी दिखाई ही नहीं. Do you understand this? So it's not a good kind of anyhow, as the economy matures, maybe we feel that these things will evaporate. So this is what you have to keep in mind. How is its composition and what are its function? But questions can be more from here rather than there. Look at this, India's new foreign direct investment rules for e-commerce. E-commerce companies like Amazon, Flipkart, etc. See, there is two kinds of e-commerce models. One is inventory based model, the other one is market based model. Inventory based model is when the e-commerce platform company itself has a stake in the company whose products they are selling. Do you understand this? Like, have you heard about the Kindle? Yes. It is Amazon's. Do you understand this? Similar. That is inventory based model where you have stakes or you hold the inventory. Like suppose, say for example, there is XYZ company and there is this e-commerce giant, say Flipkart, and Flipkart is saying this, that give us all your inventories and we will hold it in our warehouses. Do you understand this? That is inventory based model. Market based model is the e-commerce platform provider is independent of the buyer and the seller. He is just or that company or that platform is just a mediator. Do you understand this? So it only provides you the platform over which the commerce can happen. It is really, in real sense, market based model is the market. The e-commerce platform is the market. But here in this sense, he is also a player. The inventory based model, the e-commerce company is also a player, is also a stakeholder in the profits of the company and not the profits that they earn from the market alone. Do you understand this? And do you remember GAFA tax and Google tax? Okay. Now look here, that what are the new rules? एक नया rule ये आया है कि e-commerce companies running marketplace platforms such as Amazon, a cap of 25% on inventory that a market entity or its group companies can buy from a vendor. मतलब समझ लो एक कंपनी XYZ वो 100 कार बनाती है और अगर ई-कॉमर्स प्लेटफॉर्म पे अब तो कार भी बिकते हैं, अगर वैसे बिकने लग जाए तो आप 100 में से 25 ही रख सकते हो अपने पास मैक्सिमम. 25% of the total output that is produced by the company that can be held by the e-commerce platform as inventory. Why this has been done? Because many these companies, they did this, that they took a lot of products from small companies and then they came out, or even with from big companies, then they came out with big billion sales, big discount offers. And when you give big billion, big discount offers, this is artificial distortion of the price. Do you understand this? And in a free market, such artificial distortion of price can hurt the startups. It can also hurt the small businessmen. And that's why government has come up with this policy that 25% cap will be there. Up 25% से ज़्यादा तो रख ही नहीं सकते. Anyhow, FDI in inventory based model is totally prohibited indeed. See that? Is that thing written somewhere? Yes, so underline that. See this, that this is what has been done, inventory based model and market based models, you understand that as well. So what can be the questions? The questions can be either the changes that have been made or what is the difference between inventory based model and market based model. And they can give the definitions like this. An inventory based model is when the e-commerce platform provides the market also act as warehouse for these companies. And you have to identify whether the statement is correct or not or something like that. Clear? Rhymes. Yes. Okay. Yes. ऑटोमेटिक रूट सी, एक पहले ऐसे होता था कि अगर आप अपना इन्वेस्टमेंट ला रहे हो कंट्री में तो once you have invested, after investing within 1 month, you have to inform the RBI. That is automatic route. One was approval route, under which you have to get an approval from the Foreign Investment Promotion Board or the FIPB, but that board has been abolished. Clear? So all is now automatic. Clear? But there are some sectors where FDI is not permitted, it is capped. Like, do we have 100% FDI in railways now? Do you understand this? So that's a critical sector. But since this is fallen out of fashion, so that's why I did not touch it. But that's the difference between automatic and approval route. But UPSC will not ask you anymore because FIPB as a body has been abolished. Now look here, RIMES. Now, अब फिर वही नाम में ही सब कुछ है. The Regional Integrated Multi-Hazard Early Warning System. Now what is this? You see that RIMES provides regional early warning services and builds capacity of its member states in the end-to-end early warning of tsunami and hydrometeorological hazards. That you have to keep in mind. Tsunami and hydrometeorological. What is hydrometeorological? I am naming some hazards. You tell me whether they fall in that category or not. Earthquake. Submarine earthquake. Yes. Cyclones. Yes. Storm surges. Yes. समझ में आ गया? Good. Now, this is what is its task, and these are the member states that you have to keep in mind. तो एक question तो ये हो सकता है कि which of the following are members of the RIMES? एक ये हो सकता है, या एक ये हो सकता है आपके लिए question कि what is RIMES? Are you clear with that? So, see, RIMES evolved from the efforts of countries in Africa and Asia in the aftermath of 2004 Boxing Day tsunami, which happened in the Indian Ocean and caused a lot of devastation. उस tsunami की वजह से ही चाइना घुस पाया श्रीलंका में. हम्बनटोटा पोर्ट खरीद लिया उसने, लीज पे लिया है 99 years के लिए. China has followed the same policy which Britain followed with China once by taking Hong Kong on lease for 99 years. Clear? Almost the same strategy they have followed. RIMES was established on 30th April 2009 and was registered with the United Nations on 1st of July 2009. RIMES operates from its regional early warning center located at the campus of Asia Institute of Technology in Thailand. So that is what you have to keep in mind. But you see that if you look at, okay, just look at this, and can you see that it is also having something with Danish international development? Can you find Danida? Yeah. Can you find that? Yes. So keep that in mind. And what is the other one? UNISCAP is what? United Nations Economic, Social Commission for Asia and Pacific. Clear? So UNISCAP and Danida. That you have to keep in mind. ये एक option बन सकता है. उसके आगे एक star लगा लो. Danida is Danish international development. Have you heard about this odd even? Yes. Now, odd even is a part of the graded action plan to reduce urban air pollution. Air pollution has touched now, say, alarming levels, and it is very important, especially in the NCR region. And maybe because we have adapted to this climate, we do not find it very uncomforting. But if someone visits Delhi suddenly, that person finds it really difficult to adjust, especially during winters. जब ये पलारी जलाते हैं तो ये आप देखोगे इनसे कि ये बहुत सारा धुआं निकलता है, and the vehicular emission and all those kind of things. But you see one this, that graded action plan means there are certain levels of pollution. And are you aware of particulate matter? Yes. Now, if one level, first level is breached, then there is a threshold level beyond which it should never go, because after it, the air becomes obnoxious, it becomes very hazardous and not fit for human existence at all. So what happens is, once you breach a level, some steps are taken by the government to go back to the level. Are you understanding this? And if you see that the odd even kind of policies are part of that. Stubble burning, that is also restricted. But what is the reason why there is so much of pollution in Delhi? What is the reason? What is the prime reason for it? What do you think?
Vehicular pollution.
Huh?
Vehicular pollution and the topography also.
Topography, how the topography?
So it's like it's trapped between the mountain ranges from both sides. So the pollution is relatively trapped in the region. That is why it cannot escape. And also the winds coming, which is cold and heavy, it settles all the particulate matter.
That should reduce?
No, that settles means settles as in the atmosphere.
Okay, lower atmosphere, you're saying? Okay, okay. What else? How is the topography responsible? Other things you know, I know. Topography, how is it responsible? One, what he said. The other, Delhi is far away from the oceans. So the relative humidity of the Delhi air is very less. And if there is less humidity, you can understand the dust will not settle quickly. Do you understand this? So if you go to say Mumbai, and you will find that there is a lot of humidity in the air, and so much so that at times it becomes really uncomfortable in the coastal areas. Clear? The same is true with Kolkata, same is true with Chennai, etc. But Delhi, यहाँ पे सिर्फ दो ही मौसम है. एक तो है कड़ाके की सर्दी और दूसरी है जानलेवा गर्मी. बस दो ही मौसम है यहाँ पर, because we do not have good monsoons here in Delhi. But that is how we are at this moment. Now, look at this. The plan was prepared by Supreme Court mandated Environmental Pollution Control Authority. So it is Supreme Court directed plan, the graded action plan. What you have to keep in mind is the ministry, Union Environment Ministry, that is the nodal agency for its implementation, and it is implemented for the National Capital Region. Now, if it crosses say a certain micrograms, then you have different kinds of steps, like say smooth flow of traffic, pollution control measures, water sprinkling. Have you seen that? Water is being sprinkled all around the roads of Delhi. It was very common in early or you can say late spring, late autumn and early winter. This was very common. So this was a major reason, and because of the pollution or the particulate matter that rests in Delhi's climate, there is a lot of fog. In fact, it is smog, which is smoke mixed with fog, and it creates real problems. Especially, do you know that if things continue like this, a report of WHO says that 8 out of 10 children who are now getting birth in the NCR region will suffer from one or the other kind of breathing problem in their life if this thing continues. So it has become really a challenge for the national government, also the government of Delhi, that how they will cope up with this situation. But the point is, there is already good mechanism to control these pollution measures. The problem arises when the implementation is not up to the mark. And you will see that many times there is a blame game that keeps on happening. The state government or the Delhi government, it keeps on blaming the union government. The union government says that it is the job of the Delhi government, and there is just passing the ball, and nobody takes a real responsibility for the thing. Anyhow, so you have to keep this in mind. Okay. Lymphatic filariasis. What is this lymphatic filariasis? Have you heard about elephantiasis? Yes, it's an expression of this lymphatic filariasis. Now, what is this lymphatic system? What is lymphatic system? Organ system of vertebrates. Is it only organ system of vertebrates? Then, what is it? What is lymphatic? See, all the organs, they're connected with the veins and all of them make a system. Say for non-biology students, just forget about this. Just think of one thing, that it is a system which facilitates the existence of vertebrates. It helps in the smooth flow of blood, oxygen, etc. Clear? Now, this lymphatic filariasis, also known as elephantiasis, if you see, it can attack humans very early in life, and can finally develop later in life. So you can get infected in childhood, but the development of the disease will happen in maybe when you are an adolescent or maybe in your adulthood. And what is the problem is with this is this not only causes physical problems, but it also causes mental problems. That is what you have to keep in mind. Now, this painful, profoundly disfiguring, visible manifestation of the disease, and you can say all of that, but it causes permanent disability. So that is what you have to keep in mind. But what UPSC may ask you is the nematodes that causes this, or the roundworms that can cause this disease. This is what you have to keep in mind: Bancrofti, Malai and Timori. There are 3 of them, and just remember them by their last names and it will help you. And these 3 worms are generally responsible for the spread of this disease. This was very much in news now. And the triple drug therapy. These 3 drugs you have to keep in mind, which is ivermectin and diethyl carbamazine citrate and albendazole. So you have to keep these 3 drugs also in mind. But this is which can cause physical as well as mental irregularities, and it is spread by the worms. Clear? Or you can say the roundworms. There are 3 of Bancrofti, Malai and your Timori. So remember, yesterday we did one disease. Monkey disease. Okay. Now, look one thing, that as far as science and technology or the general science portion is concerned, gone are the days when UPSC will ask you digestive system, respiratory system. वो खत्म हो गया वो ज़माना. They would ask you mostly 3 areas if you see. First is science in day-to-day life. That would be one thing. और ये क्वेश्चन तो बहुत फेवरेट है यूपीएससी का. ये इंटरव्यू के बच्चों से भी पूछते हैं कि अगर देख लेते हैं अच्छा आपने इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स पढ़ा है तो वो पूछ लेते हैं बताओ एलईडी और एलसीडी का फ़र्क क्या है. तो वो तो यही बोलते हम तो 4 साल से यही पढ़ रहे हैं, यूपीएससी का सब भूल गए हैं. पॉइंट इज़ कि अगर समझा होगा तो कभी नहीं भूलोगे, अगर याद किया होगा तो अगले दिन भूल जाओगे. So these kind of questions will be first category of question. Second would be these diseases, and diseases also tropical diseases from which India is suffering. And third would be defense and space. बस ये 3 जगह पे आप concentrate करना as far as pre is concerned. Application in daily life, defense and space, it means ISRO, DRDO और ये सब चीज़ें थोड़ा देख लेना, और diseases, drugs, etc. That you will find, and at times you will find that science and environment, they are at times clubbed together. Sometimes economy and environment are clubbed together. Nowadays UPSC is also asking questions in which they club geography with history. Clear? So you have to keep all of that in mind. RATS, or what is it? It is based in Tashkent and it fights 3 evils: terrorism, separatism and extremism. It is a body under SCO. This is what you have to keep in mind. बस इसमें से अगर ये क्वेश्चन आएगा तो यही आ सकता है, इससे ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं आ सकता. हाँ, ये हो सकता है कि what are the features of SCO. Clear? तो वो एक अलग क्वेश्चन बन सकता है. Technical textile. Have you heard about technical textile? Technical textiles are used for aesthetic purposes. Like you want to protect yourself or you want to convey a message, use it as a form of expression. Are you clear with that? So technical textiles are those textiles which are for non-aesthetic purposes. It means they are primarily for industrial purposes. That is what you have to keep in mind, that they are not for consumption but for industrial purposes. It means they are used as a surface for some commerce or for some enrichment. There are 12 major types of technical textile. बस ये ध्यान रखना, और अगर क्वेश्चन आएगा तो यही आएगा कि which of the following qualify as technical textile. Do you understand this? So make a star in front of it. That is the part from where you can get the question. MCA 21, this is by Ministry of Company Affairs, so Ministry of Corporate Affairs. You see, अच्छा पहले ऐसे होता था कि suppose you want to start a company, तो सबसे पहले तो एक तो बहुत कम लोग ही सोच पाते थे कि we should start a company, because in India still the dominant mindset is that we want to study in private schools We want to go to the best private colleges, maybe Harvard and Oxford or something like that, and then we want a government job. Like the best minds in United States of America are entrepreneurs. They are entrepreneurs, all of them, the best minds. In developed world, you will find that. They are in the creative fora, whereas in India, the best minds prepare for UPSC. Do you understand this? Why? Because the risk-taking appetite is very less. A social experiment was conducted where people were asked to invest 100 rupees. They may get 1,000, but there is no guarantee that the 100 will return. And in other case where they were asked to give 100 rupees and they were assured of getting 110. 90% of the Indians said, we want to give 100 and take 110 back. It means the risk-taking appetite is very less. अब risk-taking appetite कहाँ से reflect होता है? वो तो pre से reflect होता है कि pre में ही नहीं लिया हमने risk. Attempt ही किए हमने 40 question. 40 के 40 सही, 80 नंबर बाहर. Do you understand this? So you need to attempt more. Risk-taking appetite, greater the risk, greater are the rewards. Lesser the risk, no rewards. And risk is, but risk doesn't mean कि जैसे कहते हैं ना अंधा. It means calculated, intelligent risk. Do you understand this? ऐसा नहीं कि A, B, C, D, अब एक भी नहीं आता, पता नहीं क्या है, तो कर दिया हाँ B. और एक में कुछ लोग तो ऐसे भी होते हैं, वो ऐसे करके आते हैं B, 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 B. अगर ऐसा करके आओगे ना, तो आज मैं लिख कर देता हूँ नहीं होगा, क्योंकि यूपीएससी भी जानती है कि ऐसा कोई ना कोई तो ट्राई करेगा और किसी ना किसी का तो हिट हो जाएगा. इसलिए do not go for this. Clear? Now, there is a student of mine, I would not name him, but he qualified the preliminary examination. But he was, when we conducted the tests here, he was never good with the preliminary examination. And in fact, we lost hope in him. And anyhow, from my heart, I wanted him to qualify. But my brain said that it is very impossible because he would commit mistakes in very simple, silly things. When he came to me, he said that, sir, I am scoring 125 plus. This is 2018 mains. He said 125 plus. Then I asked one question, that a simple question, that what do you think, what will be the answer for it? I thought that maybe in 15 days some revolution has happened in him and he is totally transformed, because उससे पहले जो mock test हुआ था उसमें negative marks आए थे. तो 125 कैसे हो सकता है? तो मैंने पूछा कैसे किया, क्या है इसका आंसर? तो उसने जो आंसर दिया उससे मैं श्योर हो गया कि नहीं, मेरा असेसमेंट सही है. No transformation has happened. Then I said that what approach did you follow? He said, sir, in exam hall I thought that I was confused between A and B. Maybe these were the two answers. First I eliminated them. कि जो मुझे लग रहा है ये तो नहीं है. Then I got C and D. Then I got C and D and I checked कि इसमें से क्या हो सकता है. I thought D हो सकता है. तो answer is C. And it worked for him. क्योंकि उसने बोला कि जब मैं सोच के कर रहा था तो नेगेटिव आता था, तो इस बार मैं सोच के मैं सही सोचने की कोशिश करता हूं तो जो नहीं होता वो गलत होता है. तो वैसे, और उसकी कितने अटेम्प्ट किया, 125 आ गए. And there was also a student at that time who was sitting around and he was an IRS officer. His face became long. He said that कि मैंने क्यों इतनी पढ़ाई की. मेरे लिए भी ये स्ट्रेटजी काम करे. सो नाउ यू सी, ऐसा होता था कि पहले अगर जब आप कंपनी रजिस्टर करने जाते थे तो 30 दिन लगाते थे कंपनी रजिस्टर करने में. उतने दिन आप अपना कैपिटल लेके घूम रहे हो और कोई कंपनी रजिस्टर कर दो और कंपनी रजिस्टर भी हो जाती तो इतने सारे ये मिनिस्ट्री जाओ वो मिनिस्ट्री जाओ इतना दौड़ाते थे, और कंपनी रजिस्टर भी हो गई उसके बाद तो क्लियरेंस और ये सब मिलने में भी बहुत टाइम होता था. फर्दर, जैसे हैव यू हर्ड अबाउट बेनामी प्रॉपर्टीज? देयर वर शेल कंपनीज. ऐसे करीब 3000 कंपनीज थे दिल्ली में ही जिनका नाम तो है पेपर पे, डायरेक्टर भी हैं, जब वहां गए तो कुछ नहीं है. Do you understand this? Like some of them are very smart. They said phase B, sector 4 and 7th floor. और अगर आप जाओगे तो देखोगे सिर्फ 6 ही फ्लोर है. मतलब ऐसे बनाते थे एड्रेस की शक ना हो, हाँ ये तो होगा. ये समझ लो इफ देयर आर 49 फ्लोर्स, 50th फ्लोर, और ऐसा एक फ्लोर को ले लेते थे जैसे कि 30th फ्लोर, जो अगर आप जाके देखोगे तो कॉमन किचन था. Do you understand this? अब MCA 21 आने के बाद से क्या हुआ है कि you can register your companies in one day. It will take only 24 hours and you can register your company. Clear? Also, before MCA was there, you had to go to company lawyers. And see, no offense towards company lawyers, but they used to charge an exorbitant price just for registering a company. But now you can do it on your own. It is an IT-enabled management system which gives you a digital signature certificate. See, all directors of a company, for starting a company, there are different types of company. Like private limited is one type. Then there is LLP, which is limited liability partnership. Then you have one member company which has been started recently. It means one director can start a company. But for other companies, say for private limited, you require at least 2 directors. तो लोग ऐसा करते थे कि एक डायरेक्टर तो खुद बन जाते थे और दूसरे डायरेक्टर दादाजी को बना देते थे, जो है ही नहीं. Do you understand this? और बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन पास कर देते थे. एक आपका AGR होता है, एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग जो होती है, AGM, उसमें आप क्या करते हो कि आप पास करते हो एक बोर्ड रेजोल्यूशन और उसमें सारे पावर्स एक डायरेक्टर ले लेते थे क्योंकि दूसरे डायरेक्टर तो है ही नहीं. एंड ऑल्सो डायरेक्टर्स एंड शेयर होल्डर्स, you would see that there are at times there are many places like there are some people who are directors as well as shareholders in the company. Clear? Now how do you manage that operation? That is a important thing. Also you would see that many times you would try to run say an enterprise without registering it. If you do not register it, it becomes an informal sector entity. And if it becomes an informal sector entity, does it hurt the taxation proposals? Yes. And then does that increase the fiscal deficit? Is that also a center for generation of black money? Yes. So it also becomes a system for generation of black money. And there are at times you would see that the MCA 21, the database, once it has come along, you have got the director identification number. और अगर आप अब 3 महीने में अपने रिपोर्ट्स नहीं जमा करते हो तो कंपनी डीरजिस्टर हो जाती है, अपने आप ऑटोमेटिकली हो जाती है, किसी को करना नहीं पड़ता, बिकॉज इट्स IT enabled सिस्टम. सो यू हैव टू बी ऑन योर टोज ऑल द टाइम्स. GST आपको फाइल करना पड़ेगा हर महीने, आपको TDS जमा करना पड़ेगा हर महीने. अगर आप ये सब नहीं करते हो अब तो फिर समझ लो कि कंपनी पे कभी भी ताला लग सकता है. Now remember this thing that MCA 21, it view master details, and you can view the master details of any company. Only thing that you want is the company identification number, and if you have got that, the registration number I mean, and you can put it in MCA website and you can find everything about the company, but restricted such information which only government has, and you cannot be given that information because of privacy policies. Clear? So these can be the options for your question, that what are the benefits of MCA. ये या तो फिर ये हो सकता है सर्विसेज ऑफर्ड बाय MCA. ई फाइलिंग है, अब ये आप ध्यान रखो, DIN है और डिजिटल सिग्नेचर है. नाउ कैन एनीवन एल्स यूज योर डिजिटल सिग्नेचर? कैन एनीवन एल्स यूज योर डिजिटल सिग्नेचर? अरे जितने CA हैं सब कर रहे हैं. कई लोगों का डिजिटल सिग्नेचर कर सकते हो आप. क्लियर? बट प्रोवाइडेड विथ एसेंट. Clear? Yes, you have to do that, and there is OTP वाला तो अब सिस्टम है, तो कोई इशू नहीं है. नेशनल स्किल्स क्वालिफिकेशन फ्रेमवर्क. नाउ इसमें से क्या हो सकता है आपका क्वेश्चन? स्पेसिफिक आउटकम्स एक्सपेक्टेड फ्रॉम द इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ NSQF. नाउ these 6 can be what you can expect in your question paper, but what is this NSQF? Simply put, for any job that you go, there is a parameter or skills that are expected from you. And many times you would see that in India there were people who were highly educated but not highly skilled. And that is one of the major reasons why the entrepreneurial culture did not grow in India. And provided the entrepreneurial culture does not grow in India, India will not succeed economically. Like if you go to, say, any good university in the West, you will find the students who are means they are performing well. And when I say performing well, doesn't mean only academic performance, but with respect to their subjects, they are learning well. You see, they would always talk about some enterprise. And most of the times they lose interest in college education and they drop out. Like, have you heard about Mark Zuckerberg? Drop out. Have you heard about Steve Jobs? Drop out. Bill Gates? Drop out. So you can see that all of them, they drop out. But यहाँ तो अगर drop out करके आ गए घर, तो वापस drop in करके आते हैं पूरी family कि कैसे आपने drop out कर लिया. The point is, always say that, see, let me tell you some names who have never gone to school. Rabindranath Tagore never went to school. And you can understand why he was, you can understand he had an aura which was spread throughout the world at the time when he lived, and he got a Nobel also. So Rabindranath Tagore never went to school. Also, Leo Tolstoy, after a certain point, he also found it very difficult to go to school. Have you heard about this person who found out the carburetor? What's his name? Electric bulb? Edison. Edison also did not go to school after a period of time. Now, you see that Edison is writing in his memoirs that one day he returned from school and he had a paper in his hand, and the teacher asked him to give that paper to his mother, and he was only in the 6th grade at that time, or 5th grade, 6th grade, somewhat like that, a boy of 10 or 11, something like that. And the mother read the letter, and the letter read like this: Edison is extraordinarily talented. He is not fit for this formal kind of education because his brain requires other stuff. We advise you, for his future, you should not send him to school anymore because he will destroy his creativity in schools. This is what Edison is writing when he is 60. But Edison then said that this is what was read by my mother. But actually, when I found the letter later in her box after her death, this is what the letter read: Edison is stupid. Stop sending him to school. He disturbs the class all the time, asks a lot of questions, and is unfit for formal education. So Edison writes, an ordinary boy turned into an extraordinary man just by the imagination of his mother. Do you understand this? Similarly, you will find that R.N. Tagore found it really difficult. He went to some elementary schools, but he found it really difficult to adjust himself because he was more, say, tilted towards literature, and literature poets, they think, अब जो शायर होते हैं पता ही है वो, they think in a different way, they are on a different plane, and that's why you would see that this thing, come back to this now, this thing, if you see that it will give you that kind of certification skills that are required. Now see, the learner can acquire the certification for competency needed at any level through formal, non-formal and informal learning. अब ये क्या फर्क है? Non-formal और informal, क्या फर्क है? Non-formal and formal, you understand. Non-formal means casual. Casual means maybe the same thing, but you are not learning in a school which is recognized by the government or something like that, or you are learning it in a very casual way. Informal means you are not under any kind of regulations. Do you understand this? It means no education policies or education laws apply over you. Okay? Casual learning, maybe you are not learning in the classroom, but you are learning outside the classrooms. And learning is always more outside the classrooms. but it is necessary to return to the classrooms. ऐसा नहीं कि घूम ही रहे हैं. So this is the last thing, the reports and indices. You see, performance grading index. Chandigarh has topped it, and like many indices you would see that the union territories, they perform excellently well, be it Chandigarh or be it Puducherry. I'm not talking about Delhi because Delhi does not perform so well in many of the indices, but Chandigarh especially and Puducherry, if you find that they perform excellently well, and this is, say, the performance grading index. And what are they? They are divided into two broad categories, outcomes and governance processes. If there is a question, it would be from these things. There are 4 domains in the first category. They are learning outcomes, assess outcomes, infrastructure and facilities, and equity outcomes. And in the second category, there are attendance, teacher adequacy, administrative adequacy, training, accountability and transparency. The problem in Indian schools is that the teachers that are there in the, especially think of the primary schools, most of the time they are absentee teachers, especially in rural areas. They would never go to the schools, and if they go to the school, मतलब आप देखोगे कि वो एक ही साथ 6-7 क्लास को पढ़ा देते हैं. Have you seen that? And at times this happens that the 5th standard boy is teaching the 4th standard students, 4th standard student boy is teaching the 3rd standard, and so on and so forth, and the teacher is sitting or maybe just roaming around. It has also been found that some of the teachers, they have hired someone else to do the teaching. वो घर पे बैठते हैं और वो किसी और को बोलते हैं कि आप जाके पढ़ा दो, तो वो पढ़ाते हैं और इतने रिमोट एरियाज में है कि किसी को पता भी नहीं लगता. Now think of those children who have come to school under RTE and those who have come to school for a midday meal. Think about the kind of injustice that is being meted to them in a welfare state. Do you understand this? Who is to be blamed for this? Who is to be blamed for this? Take the blame on yourself. Bureaucrats. They are to be blamed for it because it is their task to do regular inspections and check whether that is happening or not. But आपको पता है एक तो रूरल पोस्टिंग कोई चाहता नहीं है और मिल भी जाए तो वो जाता नहीं है. So the point is they're always looking for, say, on some delegation they come to the center. But if you really want to contribute to the society, you should pick a rural district and make a change there, and that will give you enormous satisfaction. So that is what you have. You see that it is prepared by HRD and Niti Aayog. So you see this, it's written 36, it should be 37 now because 28 states and 9 union territories. Chandigarh is number 1 now, and Kerala and Gujarat follow it. Clear? So that's it for the day. Thank you.